What is going on, YouTube world? My name is Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today to my YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that like button right now. Smash that like button if you're rocking me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. And love great fire sports content. I post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. And by the way, guys, I want to thank you guys for giving me to 400 subscribers recently. This channel has been out for 7 months. 400 subscribers is a pretty good pace. We're on pace for over 600 subscribers by the end of the year. Okay, so look, that's dope. I appreciate you guys. I thank you guys for tuning into my channel and watching all my videos. I appreciate you guys. All right, but getting right to things. Obviously, as of late, I've been previewing a ton of college football teams. So if you like college football, be sure to check out my college football playlist. I might put a link in the description for that, but just check it out on my channel. But hey, we're previewing all 32 NFL teams this year. So I figured, why not start off with the Los Angeles Rams? I'm going to give record predictions for all 32 NFL teams. I'm going to break down game by game, try to see where I can find wins and losses in each team's schedule. And obviously the Rams had a very good year last year. They made it to Super Bowl. They went 13-3. Obviously there was some controversy in New Orleans, you know, that pass interference call. I do think it was definitely pass interference, but the Saints got the ball ultimately in overtime, didn't do anything with it. So the Rams, you gotta give them credit. They went into New Orleans. It's a tough place to play. Jared Goff outplayed Drew Brees. That's just the bottom line. And the Rams got to the Super Bowl. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl this year. I thought they were going to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I thought based on what they did in the offseason, adding Ndamukong Suh, adding Akeem Talib, adding Marcus Peters. I mean, they had so much talent they added in the offseason. I thought they were Super Bowl bound. I thought it was theirs to win. But obviously, I've never seen an offense that's so great as the Rams was in the regular season get shut down so badly. And I mean, the Patriots only had 2 Pro Bowlers. This past year. Bill Belichick, shout out to him. He's the greatest head coach of all time. Tom Brady, the most accomplished quarterback of all time. No shame in losing to that Patriots dynasty. Man, 3 points. Just saying, Drew Brees might have done better. But either way, but let's dive into some things. Obviously, the Rams, you know, they lost Ndamukong Suh, but that's really the only big loss they had in the offseason. You know, in the draft, they added Taylor Rapp, they added Darnell Henderson, running back out of Memphis. They added David Long, a cornerback out of Michigan. They also added to the offensive line. They added Bobby Evans and David Edwards. I like the Rams draft, okay? I loved what they did in the draft. Based on the amount of picks they had, Taylor Rapp's probably going to start for them. I mean, Darnell Henderson provides much needed depth. I mean, Todd Gurley, it looked like at the end of the year the guy was shot. He was not looking too good. The Rams obviously needed depth at the running back position. I think he really helps them there. And obviously the Rams, they have a great offensive line, but it is one of the oldest offensive lines in football. So they're pretty much bringing in 2 guys to redshirt. I really like David Edwards. I really like Bobby Evans out of Oklahoma. Those are 2 good picks. So let's dive right into the Rams schedule. Now, before I do get to breaking down game by game, I want to say this. Can the Rams potentially get over suffering from a Super Bowl hangover? You saw it last year with the Eagles. The Eagles really didn't get things going until about week 13 or 14. I mean, really the last couple of years, I mean, outside the Buffalo Bills making 4 straight Super Bowls, I believe only the Packers, the Falcons, and the Patriots the last like 10 to 15, 20 years have really been teams that have done very, very exceptionally well coming off a Super Bowl win. Obviously, the Falcons a couple years ago, they went to the Super Bowl, laid an egg versus the Patriots. They were the very same the next year. They went 11-5. My Packers, when we won the Super Bowl, we went 15-1, but we also didn't win a playoff game. I mean, you look at the Patriots. The Patriots are really the only organization you can look at historically that says, hey, it doesn't matter if they lose a Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if they win a Super Bowl. They're pretty much a lock to win 12 or 11 games each year. So the Patriots are the exception to the rule. You saw the Carolina Panthers a couple years ago. They won the Super Bowl. They obviously were not the same team. They didn't make the playoffs until the very next year. So listen, history's not on the Rams' side as far as losing a Super Bowl. And even winners of Super Bowls, you know, they don't do very good either, okay? So looking right into things, okay? You start off at Carolina, you have the Saints at home, and you play at the Browns. I think those are 3 very good teams you play starting off back-to-back. I think you go 1-2 in your first 3 games, and I'll explain why. Okay, at the Panthers. Listen, like I just said, the Super Bowl hangovers are a real thing. Usually teams don't get back into full form until about week 4 usually. That's usually when they start getting back into the kink of things. It's just naturally what happens. But hey, maybe the Rams are an exception. I don't know. But I think on the road, if it was at home, I would pick them to beat the Panthers, but it's on the road. And Carolina, man, that defensive line is nasty. I mean, they just added Brian Burns in the offseason. They got Gerald McCoy. They brought him in. They still got K'Wan Short. Okay, they got Poe on that D-line. I mean, that D-line is a monster. And if the Patriots defensive line can dominate the Rams offensive line like they did in the Super Bowl, there's no reason the Panthers can't do the same thing. Cam Newton, let's not forget, Cam Newton had one of his best years statistically until he got hurt with a shoulder injury. I don't like the fact that he lost Devin Funchess this year, but I do think the Rams lose that game at Carolina. It's a tough place to play. Cam Newton is trending in the right direction. He had a very good year last year. The Panthers were about 6-3, 6-2 until they got blown out by Pittsburgh, okay? Once they got blown out by Pittsburgh, they fell apart. So Panthers, they're a good team. And you lose, I think you'll lose to the Saints. Listen, the Saints are going to be ticked off. People have to realize football is obviously you got the coach, obviously you got the quarterback, but I don't think people take into account emotion enough when it comes to football. And the Saints are going to be ticked off, okay? And honestly, the Rams don't necessarily have a true home field advantage, okay? They really don't. I mean, as much credit as I want to give the Rams, the argument can be made that if that call was made for pass interference, the Rams don't go to the Super Bowl. I think the Saints go on the road. I think they steal a game. The Saints were a very good road team last year. And then you're 0-2, but I think you get a desperation win versus the Browns, okay? I really do. I don't see this team starting off 0-3. And look, I'm very high on the Browns, okay? But I just think that desperate teams call for desperate measures at times. I think that, Sean McVay is a good head coach. I don't know if I'm sold on Freddie Kitchens yet. I don't know. Baker Mayfield's a very good quarterback, but talent-wise, the Rams are still one of the top teams in the league. I don't see this team falling to 0-3. I understand it's on the road at Cleveland. I understand Cleveland fans, but I think the Rams are too good of a team to start out 0-3. I mean, you got Todd Gurley, you got Aaron Donald, you got Marcus Peters, you got to keep Talib. I do think Talib and Marcus Peters will match up well on the outside with some of the Browns wide receivers. I think they steal that game barely in Cleveland. It's a desperation game. All right, so then you got the Buccaneers. You'll win that game. But at Seattle, I think you'll take a loss. I think you'll beat the 49ers, okay? The Buccaneers, I think, will be improved with Jameis Winston, but let's be real. They were picking number 5 overall for a reason. There's still a lot of holes to be filled in that team. I think Jameis Winston's going to be playing pretty well this year now that they hired Bruce Arians. I think that was a very good hire for them. But the Rams, they made the Super Bowl for a reason last year. I particularly didn't like the draft for the Buccaneers, even though they did snag Devin White, who I am very high on. I think he was a top 3 player in the draft. At Seattle. Seattle played you very tough last year. Okay, you barely squeaked out some wins versus Seattle last year. You won by 2 points, you won by 5 points. Both games. You swept Seattle last year. I don't think Russell Wilson's getting swept by you guys again this year. Russell Wilson, to me, is one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the league right now. They did add DK Metcalf in the offseason in the draft. I just think that the Seahawks get you. It's a tough place to play in Seattle. Okay, it's just a tough place to play. I think you dropped that game, but I think you beat the 49ers at home. The 49ers, I'm very high on them as well. I think you get a much-needed win at home. I mean, you're at home. I mean, we haven't seen what Jimmy G fully is yet. We haven't seen him in the full season yet. We've seen what Jared Goff is. We see what Todd Gurley can do. I know that they added Nick Bosa in the draft. I understand they added Jason Verrett. They added Alexander, a Pro Bowl middle linebacker from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a very good draft. They got Deebo Samuel. And I get it, but I just think the Rams are a little bit better team right now at the moment than the 49ers. I think they win at home. Okay. But heading into this Falcons game, you are 3-3. But I think you're going to be 3-4 after that Falcons game. Okay. It's on the road. Like I said again, listen, I think the Falcons are going to be improved this year. The Falcons, they had no team in the NFL had more injuries than the Atlanta Falcons did last year. They had injury after injury after injury. And listen, the Falcons went healthy. They're a top 10 team as far as talent goes. Matt Ryan had one of his best years this past year despite losing some weapons, okay? They went out and added 2 great offensive linemen in the draft. They're going to protect Matt Ryan. Julio Jones is a stud. I do think he can win some matchups versus Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters. I do think Calvin Ridley is a very good wide receiver too. They have a pretty good tight end. They always can run the ball pretty well. Like I said, if it was at home, I would pick you, but it's on the road. And listen, like I said, when they're healthy, you can make a legitimate argument the Falcons can be a playoff team when healthy. That defense is pretty solid. They got some speed on that defense. Okay, I think you catch a loss there. But then up next, you'll beat the Bengals. The Bengals are terrible. I personally think they need to move on for Andy Dalton. They were one of the worst defenses last year. The Bengals were. That's an easy dub. Okay, so now you're heading into your bye week of 4-4. I mean, can you make the playoffs? Can you make that second half push? I really do think you possibly can, okay? At the Steelers, look, I think you win that game. Sean McVay off a bye week is deadly. You give Sean McVay a week to prepare for you, you're probably going to lose. And look, I understand the Steelers. I'm higher on the Steelers than most people. I think some people think the Steelers are going to just bury and fall down this year after missing the playoffs. I think Big Ben's going to have a very good year, even though Big Ben is one of the most overrated quarterbacks to me in history, okay? I mean, when is he not help? I mean, he loses to Blake Bortles and Tim Tebow in the playoffs. I mean, what are you doing? But either way, I think you catch them on. I think you win that game. You're going to win a tough road game, I think. The Pittsburgh Steelers obviously lost Antonio Brown. That's a key loss. I mean, you have the talent to beat the Steelers. Pound per pound, you're pretty much even with the Steelers as far as talent. As far as quarterback, as far as running back, as far as wide receivers go, you're pretty even. I mean, and look, like I said, I just think you catch the Steelers by surprise. You get them off a bye week, I think you're just as good as them. Steelers also have a tendency to play down the competition and just get caught lacking some days. I mean, some days the Steelers, you're like, what are you doing? You didn't even show up this week. And then the very next 2 games, I'm going to go over the next 3 games. I think you'll beat the Bears. I think you'll beat the Ravens. I think you'll win at the Cardinals. Listen, Jared Goff had his worst career game as a pro versus the Bears last year. I mean, he looked terrible. He threw 4 interceptions. After that, Jared Goff, honestly, his numbers fell off a cliff after that game. I mean, look, you can't get any worse than you played versus them last year. You get them at home. I think you win that game. I'm actually a little bit down on the Bears this year. I think that now that people have film on Mr. Trubisky and Matt Nagy's scheme, I think it'll catch up to them. And usually historically great defenses don't usually perform year to year. Usually it's great offenses that perform year to year. I think you win that game. Ravens at home. Listen, Lamar Jackson's a talented guy, but he runs around way too much. I think Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, will keep him inside the pocket. I mean, Lamar Jackson literally ran for 100 yards a game last year. That's not sustainable in the NFL, okay? And look, I have questions at wide receiver for the Ravens. I got questions on defense. They lost some players on defense. They'll be a decent defense, but not good enough to beat the Rams. And at the Cardinals, listen, Kyler Murray, he's a very good quarterback. They had an excellent draft, but they were picking number 1 overall for a reason. You don't fix all those issues in 1 year, okay? You'll win that game pretty easily, I think. Okay, so the next 2 games. Playing Seattle at home. I think you bounce back and split with them this year. I think you're a better team than Seattle. You got them at home, you'll win that game, okay? And then at Dallas, okay, listen. You beat Dallas in the playoffs, I get it, but you ran for over 200 yards on that defense. You pretty much outplayed Dallas in every aspect of the game in that playoff game. And you only won by 8 points, okay? Look, you shut down Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think because you have to play them in Dallas, I think that's a tough place to play. And I can legitimately make the case that there are about 13 or 14 quarterbacks that are more talented than Dak Prescott in the league. I'm going to tell you something. He wins games. I mean, since he's here in the league, he has the second most wins behind Tom Brady. It's a tough place to play in Dallas. I think that defense catches Jared Goff by surprise. When you pressure Jared Goff, you saw versus the Patriots, you saw versus some of these teams, he folds. I think you win that game. They'll shut down Todd Gurley probably too. And then look, the next couple games, I think you'll lose at San Francisco, and I think you'll beat the Cardinals, okay? Look, at San Francisco, like I said, I love what the 49ers did this year. I think at worst, they split with you guys this year. I mean, they added Nick Bosa, they added Telvin Coleman, they added Jason Verrett, they added Deebo Samuel in the draft. I mean, the 49ers, I'm very high on them, and Jimmy G's coming back. I mean, there's no way they win less games than they won this past year. They had Jimmy G out for the whole year. I do think the 49ers probably would have split with you last year if Jimmy G played. So I do think you have to travel to their place. I think that's a loss. I do think you'll win at home versus the Cardinals, and that will get you to 10-6 on the year. I think the Los Angeles Rams, in a year where they have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover early, but Jared Goff, pretty good quarterback. Todd Gurley, elite running back. Pretty good offensive line. Great secondary still. I like what they added in the draft. I mean, the NFC's tough, so can 10 wins potentially not even get you a playoff spot? Yes, that's very possible. This division is very competitive too. You got Seattle, who obviously made the playoffs last year. You got San Francisco. I'm very high on San Francisco. I really think San Francisco can win 8, 9, 10, 11 games potentially. But I think the Rams, they have too good of a roster. They have too good of a team to not win 10 games. Honestly, I think if you didn't have the Super Bowl hangover, I think you probably would win more games. But you do usually have that little bit of a Super Bowl hangover after a Super Bowl loss, especially a loss like that. I mean, that loss was heartbreaking. I mean, to lose like that, for your offense to be that bad, it's just bad, okay? But look, you do get Cooper Kupp back for most of the year. He was out for the whole entire playoff run. I think the Rams finished 10-6 in 2019 and 2020. That's pretty much a wrap for this video. Be sure to like this video right now if you're rocking me. Smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. Turn on the post notifications so you don't want to miss a video. It's my favorite thing in the world to do for you guys to make these YouTube videos. I am potentially looking to go into a big time network when I get older. Potentially ESPN, Fox Sports 1, etc., etc. I'm trying to do sports analysis for a full-time job when I get older. I'm in college. I'm going to be in college in a couple of months, so wish me luck. I'm going to the University of Toledo. Hopefully I can achieve my dreams, but you guys just sharing this channel with your friends, getting people hit to my channel, helping me grow would definitely help me in that path to my dreams. Appreciate you guys. I love to do this for you guys. I don't make videos for views. I do it because I love to do it, okay? It's been your boy Ghiman Mckinney. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today, and I'm Ghost. Have a blessed day, you guys.